check. We want to make sure that everyone can hear us because that is an issue. So we are live now. Welcome to Connected with Carrie here on Jess FM, Jess TV. Hope everyone's doing well on this Saturday night. Can't believe it's Saturday already. This whole week just gone. I don't know. This is how it works. But yes, so welcome my guest this evening, Derek Boniface. Boniface. How do you say
Boniface?
Boniface. Okay, I want to say it right. I stumble all the time. It's so horrible. And then I say people's names wrong and I'm like, just boot me off. Like,
it's all good. People call it whatever they want, but Boniface, Bonifacio used to be. But
Derek Bonbon, welcome to the show.
There you go.
Bring your goodies to the show, your candies. First of all, I want to say thank you for coming in because we have been friends on Facebook probably 7 years, I think.
Yeah.
A long time. I don't know how long we've been on LinkedIn, but it was really cool because I actually saw you post up on LinkedIn. This is what brought me to you, was you put up your book. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, I didn't know he wrote a book. Like, this is interesting. This is cool. So I had to have you on so I can find out more about how you got into all this, because I know you more personally than I know you more on the business side.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to introduce yourself to my lovely listeners and my audience, that would be amazing. And tell everyone what you do. And then we'll get into your book because I want to know how you got into that as well. Maybe you've been writing all this time and I have no idea.
Sounds good. No, yeah, it's quite interesting, I'll tell you that. But so my name's Derek Boniface and I'm 38 years old and I reside in Smithville, Ontario, which it's close to Niagara Falls or somewhat close to Toronto, Hamilton. But I have a beautiful wife named Carrie, another Carrie.
Not me.
I have 2 kids, 6-year-old Callie and a 4-year-old Bo. And they're awesome. Like, being a parent is just so awesome. I have a twin brother and family from Brantford. They're actually in Brantford and Hamilton. Jeff, he's my best bud. I'm a general manager at Good Life in Hamilton. I've been doing that for about 13 years now. And I own my health company, Isogenics. I think you know about that. And yeah, now I'm an author.
An author. Okay, well, that answered. No, just kidding. Okay, I think how did you get into it? Seriously, did you just wake up one morning and I just want to write a book?
So the short answer, yes. So I've never, ever thought I'd ever write a book, but just a little history on sort of how all this came.
Yes, please.
Something as I graduated Brock University in 2006 with a business degree, and the probably a month or two after I graduated, my mom tossed me this book. This is back in 2006, The Secret by Ron DeBerne. And if you don't know, The Secret is all about law of attraction. And that was actually one of the first books I've ever read. But that's when my real learning actually started, is after I finished university. And I fell in love with self-development. And I fell in love with reading and trying to be a better version of myself. So probably 15 years of reading books and listening to podcasts and just diving into myself throughout these books. I've obtained a lot of knowledge, so I guess after all that, there was an incident that happened, and this is quite interesting, because with all that knowledge, I've always lived a good life, but I've wanted to live a great life. And it's almost like the more I dove into self-development, the more I actually started falling further away from my ideal life, to the point where let's go back probably 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
I was at a work party,
Okay.
Christmas party, and we went to chain Moxie's. I don't know if you have Moxie's out in Calgary. And it was a great night. So great that I woke up with the worst hangover of my life. To the point, a lot of tequila, a lot of beer, a lot of everything, wine. It was a good night. But I woke up actually with the worst hangover I've ever had in my life. Actually, my wife said, "You're not taking the kids to school or daycares. Like, you probably shouldn't be driving.
Probably shouldn't even leave the bed."
You probably shouldn't. But you know what? At Good Life, we have a motto. You know, work hard, play hard. So you know, I go into work, and it was one of those. Yeah, it was one of those days or times where you wake up and you're like, I'm never drinking again. And I actually said that, I'm never drinking again. After thinking about that statement though, and like, I do like wine and I want to be able to enjoy having some wine with my wife and friends and grab a beer if I want to. I knew for life wasn't something that I wanted to do, but I wanted to challenge myself, and I wanted to take 1 year off of drinking. And for me, like, I'm not saying that I was an alcoholic by any means, but you know, I was a weekend warrior, go out with the friends. But so taking 1 year off, I've never completed such a challenge before.
Okay.
With that challenge, I just got more into self-development. I'm like, I'm going to take this next year and make this year the best year I've ever made of myself. And I got into some really, really good habits, which they're in the book, or might talk about it later.
Okay.
But I was so consistent with those habits that 1 year later, and it took about a year for me to realize that I'm living my dream. Like I am living my dream, and like to a point where it actually brought me to tears. And I'm not a crier or anything, but I was just so in the moment, and I was just so connected with how powerful I am and we are. But it was like that self-realization. And ever since that moment, I've realized I've always got what I've always wanted. And I am so happy, and I'm living the life. And I want other people to live the life too. Now that's sort of where the book stemmed from, but I just woke up one idea with a thought.
Yeah. But and, you had to learn. You had to learn to get there, and to be like, well, you know, what did I learn through this process, and what can I teach others? And I think it's definitely got to be a passion, because if you don't have a passion for something, we are not going to actually have that drive to do anything towards that goal, right?
That, you know what, you nailed it on the head. You have to have that passion and that excitement for life. Like, how many times I know we're not driving right now, like maybe like your work's like at home, but how many times in the past, like, have you driven somewhere like to work, and you look over at the car beside you and realize, man, they look so miserable right now. Like I think a lot of people really are not fully happy. I really, truly do. Like, they're not living their best life. And maybe they don't realize that they know how to. I know I fell into that trap where, you know, life gets busy.
It does.
But life gets busy. Life gets stressed. Like, stuff happens. And which is totally okay.
Yeah.
Which is totally okay. Like, I've got like some bad stuff has happened to me, but working through those bad stuff is helped me get to where I am right now.
I was actually having this conversation with one of my friends, probably, I think it was about a week ago. And it was like, you know, they were switching jobs and things like that. And it's actually my sponsor, Ben Coyne Fitness. I was talking to him, and he's a personal trainer, but he's got a day job. During the day, he's in security. And so it was funny because, you know, he actually decided to go casual on that, and he had to recertify all of his training stuff. And now, you know, he wants to work at a gym full time. And I said, you know, it takes a lot of guts to be able to do that, to be able to, of course, recertification is usually nothing, but at the same time, you have to want to do that. And then to be able to do what you want to do full time, you know, this is like his dream. And I was like, you know, go for it. But you have to have that support too. And to be able to realize, like, this is the one thing I want to do my whole life. I have to step back and get out of my comfort zone and to go after the things that I want to go after. And of course, you know, there's a few people that frowned upon him, you know, being like, well, this is the security job. It's secure and all this and that. And it's like, you know, he's not happy there. Yeah. So do you want to live every day unhappy because of a security feeling, or go after something that you've been dreaming of doing, that's your purpose, and get a little uncomfortable, but really go for it? You know what I mean? Like, it's a hard thing to want to do. And I can see, like you said, you look at that other car and you're like, you know, you can see that look. The mundane day after day. I'm driving into the office. I'm doing this every day. And it becomes a ritual. You know, that whole scheduling life, 9 to 5, and you're going in, and I don't know. Like you said, maybe people just don't even realize that they have a choice.
Mm-hmm. Well, let me just say that most people live the same day over and over and over again. Like, I think we have like, I think the number is like 60,000 thoughts a day. And of those thoughts, 90% of those thoughts are the same thoughts that we've had the day before. And your thoughts lead to your behaviors, which lead to your outcomes, and it just which handle your emotions, which drive up the same thoughts. So if you really want things to change, you got to change your thoughts. But it's not easy unless you really want something, like finding your passion. Yeah. One quick thing is, like, make a decision. Like your friend making that decision to be a personal trainer. Yeah. Like, he made a decision, and the moment that you make a decision, it carries enough energy to start to reprogram your brain to get out of the bad habits. Because really, it's all the small habits that we do that will help create what we want in life. But yeah, we got to make a decision on what we want, which is easier said than done too. Like, what do we want? What do you want?
Yeah,
that's the question. What do you want?
Right. It's absolutely true. And I find, like, even for me, I stumbled across getting into radio and things like that. It was just kind of happened, but I was like, you know, I need to look for other work. And then it just kind of stumbled onto that. I'm like, what do I really want to do? Like, what's that other driving thing that I just want to do? And I just love people, and I just love to meet people, and I love to connect with people, and, you know, and so kind of led me down this little garden path, and I was like, oh, here I am.
Yeah, that's funny. Have you ever heard, Carrie, like, okay, once you figure out what you want, and it's like somebody says, okay, now that you know what you want, go tell somebody, because if you tell somebody, that's going to make it more accountable. Yeah. Have you ever heard that? Yes, I have. Absolutely. So, I remember telling my friend about it. Okay. Well, so I woke up that one morning with a thought, and the thought, or I wrote it down at like 3 a.m. Like, I had this thought on, you know, I asked myself a question, and in my brain was just figuring out the answer to the questions that I asked it. And I'm like, and that's scientifically proven. Your brain actually has to answer the question that is given. Now, you may not figure out the answer right then or there, maybe like a day, hour, a week later, but your brain doesn't stop until it figures. And here's the example of that is, like, if you're trying to find an actor or actress of a movie, you might not know it then, but it will pop into your head at some point, and probably the weirdest time. Anyways, the original thought of my book, I was going to write it on you really have all the answers you need to know to get to solve any problem. So it's just finding out what questions you need to answer yourself. So I woke up the next morning. I'm like, I'm going to write a book, and this is what I'm going to write a book on. Mm-hmm. So I got on social media, got on Instagram, and said, I'm going to write a book. And I got a message from my wife's cousin, Laura, fantastic woman. And she said, Derek, that's so amazing that you write a book. Like, I think you're pretty inspirational. Like, I just think that's awesome. But not only that, it takes a lot of courage to put it out there, that you're actually going to do it. And it's like, I was just excited at the time. I didn't even realize, but I'm going to say glad I did, because the first day that I started to write a book, I was done in 1 hour. I'm like, okay, I'm 5 pages in. How the hell am I going to write a book? But then I realized that, hey, I put it out there, somebody said something, and then I put it all together, plan and everything. But it was because I put it out there. When
did you start writing it? Like, when was the initial day that you're just like, oh, I'm going to sit down and start this?
So it was, I finished my 1 year of no drinking.
Congratulations, by the way.
And it was, I swear, a week or two after that, that's when everything started to come together. And it was just weird.
I think it's, our brain has these blocks. Well, I mean, it doesn't have blocks, but we block it.
Yes.
Right? We block it with our negative thoughts. We block it with drugs, alcohol, negative thoughts, like I said, negative, just whatever we feed it. And I think even bad food, I think too, it will affect it. And I found like, when you just have a really, really bad day, and it just like your whole mind is just flooded with all this negativity, and you're just like, you almost just, you just, and you just, you can't handle it anymore. But that feeling of just like that frustration and negativity, and you have just, your brain isn't open to anything at that point at all. Mm-hmm. So I find like you're just completely shutting it down. You're just like, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to talk to anybody, and no one bother me and all this. But when you have a family and your kids, of course, you can't just be like, you're around them all the time. You can't just be like, leave me alone. Well, you can for a little while, but you can't always say no to them. And so it's kind of the same idea to your brain. You can't always be saying no to it and feeding it all that bad stuff. And so it's always going to, if it's not open, it's not open to ideas. And I think when we have more clarity in our lives, when we actually have all those blockers, the drugs, alcohol, or negative thoughts, when they're actually aside and we have a clear path of thinking, I think that's when we have these almost brilliant ideas, and it just flows. And I think that's also why through this whole pandemic as well, I've seen more creativity than ever. And I think it's just because everyone's had like this free time in a way. They're not going to work every single day, or their schedules are all mixed up, and they've had to kind of rearrange their whole lives. And all of a sudden, it's like this little seed was planted, and everyone's like, I have this time, and what am I good at? And what can I do during this free time? You know what I mean? Like, it's so crazy. So that's what I think happened with you.
Well, it did, but go on.
Yeah, no, that's what I want to say is I think like that was that moment of like your brain going, finally, I can have a turn now, and you're putting all this garbage aside, and it's like, welcome back to this incredible life that you have in front of you, but you need to see it for yourself and be open to it.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what happened to me to get to that? You're exactly right, Carrie. So this was pre-COVID, but a change did happen. So with my job, I've always worked Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
And we had changed things where once a month I had to go in on a Saturday.
Oh.
But having a Saturday going in, I got to have a Friday off. Having a Friday off means the kids are in daycare and school and the wife's working. So I had alone time. And I hadn't had, like, if any of you guys listeners have kids out there, you'd know how crazy it can be and how little alone time there actually is. So that day, that Friday, when I had time for myself, like I meditated, I blared the music, I journaled. I was just truly enjoying myself. And it was that day where after I finished journaling, I looked up and looked around, and that's when I came into the realization that, wow, like I really do have everything. And I've been living my perfect life all along, and I hadn't even realized it yet.
Just sitting right there. You know, that's the thing. You know, we should realize how and what we have in front of us every single day. We are, especially here in Canada and the States, you know, we're very blessed with this wonderful type of a lifestyle that we have, even though pandemic, whatever. We still have running water, houses, food at our, you know, anytime we want, you can just pick up the phone and like pretty much everything at our fingertips. We, you know, have beautiful families and, you know, amazing friends, or, you know, just everything, and just what we have around us. We need to sit back and realize that we are extremely blessed of what we have here every single day. And to be able to, just sit back and go, you know, even though like some people do have that mundane job, but they still have a job. And some people don't have that. They don't have a 9-to-5 job to go to every single day. You know, that's just one thing. It's not out there. Going back to your book, you said there's 15 points in it?
15 chapters.
15 chapters?
Yeah.
How is it laid out again?
Pardon me?
How is it laid out?
Sorry, there's 13 chapters in a conclusion. It's laid out well in an order that I put it that I think is most important. Like and like we talked about, the first chapter is on goals, like dreaming big, because if you don't know what you want, then how are you gonna set your mind to that roadmap? Like,
you have to excuse, I'm dog sitting.
I love dogs. What kind of dogs do you have?
They're Boston Terriers, and I've been dog sitting them since Thursday. So, and I was like, oh darn, I have an interview, and I'm like, what am I going to do with them? And I'm like, well, so there, once in a while they just bark, so just ignore them.
Love it. That's fun.
I was like, I was going to kennel them, and I'm like, well, they're just going to bark the whole time. And I'm like, I'll just let them be. So I told Jesse, the owner, I'm like, well, I'm kind of dog sitting, so just ignore it.
That's funny.
You know, it's great. But so your first one, of course, is the goals, which is very important because, like you said, we can't reach a goal until you know what you want to do, right?
Yeah. So you can give your brain any target you want, and it will strive to go there, and it won't stop. The trouble where most people, like, once you find out what you want, is keeping focus. Like, how do you keep focus on it? And that's where I challenge people: dream big. Like, just an example, if you were to say, you know, I want to make $1,000 this month. You know what? You might not get that, like, you might get really excited, or, you know, you might get really excited for a couple of days and realize, you know what, $1,000, it's not going to be the end all, be end all. But what if your goal was to, like, make $1 million
at the end of the
and then, but you were focused on it, you would get excited more. Like, you would picture what your life looks like with having $1 million. And, you know, to me, like, focusing on something like that gonna keep the excitement longer, I guess.
Okay. How big of a goal should we go after?
It's so there's a saying out there that is like, whatever you can bring your mind to conceive, or whatever your mind can conceive and bring it to believe, you can achieve. So the sky's the limit. The sky's the limit. But the key word in that is believe. So it's like, what do you believe that you can achieve? And so, yeah, that's the question. What do you believe? Do you believe that you can be a millionaire? Well, if you can't believe you're going to be a millionaire, there's no way that you're going to be a millionaire.
Right? Yeah.
Mm.
Oh boy. Okay. So I'm saying I got 10 more minutes left here on my Zoom thing. So we decided to just Zoom this evening just to kind of switch things up. And I realized Jesse should have done it on his end instead of my end. So now we're going to run out of time in about 9 minutes, 30 seconds.
Let's go rapid fire.
Which is great. No, it's fine. It's all good. Because, you know, I can always have you back, which is the beauty of this.
Okay.
But the biggest dream. Okay, so what was your big dream, or what is your big dream?
So I've always kept hope that I am gonna live this great life, and by great life, money won't be an option or like an issue.
Okay.
You know, I'll have a cottage. So, but I live I'm very blessed where I live right now.
Mm-hmm.
I want a little bit more land. I want a cottage. I want a house in Florida. And I want my kids to never worry about anything. And it's like all the people around me will just be very set and we'll just live a good life together. Ultimately, though, it's about happiness. And I'm always striving to get to that next level, because your feelings are like a magnet. So I feel great, Carrie. I really do. Like I feel great, but I also believe I can feel better. And the better you feel, the more good stuff that's gonna just pop up into your life. And it's always happened. I'm sure we all have negative friends or people that look on the negative side of things, which is totally all right. And we're all at where we're all at.
Yeah.
But have you ever found that the more negative people are, bad stuff always seems to happen? Mm-hmm. And the same thing goes for, you know, you have those friends. They're always happy. They're always laughing. They're always having a good time. And they seem like the luckiest guys on the planet. Like, why is good stuff always happen? You don't know. But I'll tell you, just like understanding the quantum physics really of how this universe actually works, there's a lot of science, and there'll be a lot more science that more people publicly know this stuff about, like the emergence model, the quantum physics model, law of attractions. Like these are all laws that are happening. And once we understand this, we realize that, well, we really do have the power to live whatever lives we want, but we got to feel it. We got to live it. We got to be it. And you know what? You can always strive for more. And it's a human nature with us to always want more, whether it be more money, more happiness, whatever it is.
Why not? And I think also, going back to that, it's just like, you have to also have a mindset of like, kind of live in the day and live like, you know, life is very short. We don't know how much time we have. And like, we just don't know. And I think trying to push our goals even more to become better every single day is such a good thing to do. And I always like the people around me, I always try and push them too and be like, you know, if you want to do this, what's holding you back? What is the thing? Like for me, it's like, this is my dream of doing this. I'm not getting money for it or anything yet, but yet is the word. But the thing is like, I love this. And people are like, they love watching my shows. They love being on the shows, and I love connecting everyone. And it's just like, you can just see it and feel it. And I want everyone to have that drive for everything that they do. And I'm like, just go for it. Like, what's holding you back? You know, parents, money, this, like, is that an excuse? Like,
yeah,
what's an excuse? So going to your book again, I want to know, what else is another driving force that people can look at and be like, you know, he's got the best point ever that we haven't touched up on yet?
Oh, great question. Well, first, I just want to go back to what you said. I think it's very important that, you know, time is, we don't know, like, who knows how much time we have left. Like, if you only had 30 days to live, how would you make those 30 days? What do you think about? Like, and it's not going to be like your bank account. It's like, oh, you're not going to think about that. You're going to want to spend and appreciate yourself, your family, your friends. Like, these are the things. And, you know, if we're always chasing that money, you know what, we're going to create further separation and connection from that. So it's like, yeah, find out what you love. But to answer your question, like, and this is a huge point.
Yeah.
And this is a firm belief on just what I have is you can only give what you have. So your main job is to make yourself the best version of yourself possible. You know, the better you are, the better your friends are, the better your family is. And
yeah.
You'll live the life if you really make yourself a priority. And it's funny working in the gym, and I see this all the time where people say, yeah, I'm looking to lose weight, let's just say.
Yeah.
And I'm looking to lose the baby weight, and I'll ask, like, well, how old are your kids? It's like, oh, they're 18, they're 19. Like, but you know, it's so easy to forget about yourself. That's the point I want to get across, because people do want to help out others, but there's going to come a point in your life where you have nothing left to give. You're all out of air, and
like they say, you have to pour into this cup first before you pour into others.
You got it. So take care of yourself first, and you know, it's the habits that you create to take care of yourself will lead you to whatever success you are looking for.
That's so amazing. I love it. Do you have your book with you?
I do.
You can hold it up and share. Feel great, attract greatness. The man. Please tell us, because we only have 3 minutes left. Any other last little things you want to share with everybody? Some other little golden nuggets you want to put out there? And then, of course, shout outs as well.
Yeah, well,
where we can find your book too.
First, you can get the book a few spots. Amazon. You can type in "Feel Great, Attract Greatness," or my website, DerekBoniface.com, or Feel Great, AttractGreatness.com. Either or, they're all out there. Some habits, some key habits. I just think this is important, because realizing that it comes easy if you put in the work. And a couple habits that I love that have brought me to where I am: meditation. It's huge. It's really huge. So like I used to meditate 15 minutes every morning. Now I'm up to like half hour in the morning, half hour in the evening. I just love it. Working out, it's just there's so many benefits to working out. So I'm a new journaler. Who would have thought? Journaling, and there's anything you can do with journaling. I think that's absolutely amazing. Writing affirmations, just questions, whatever the heart desire. I think it's awesome. And reading, like, start with 1 page a day. If you're not a reader, read 1 page a day, and it will get you to where you want to go. You know, if you're not growing, then you're falling behind. So now's the time to, you know, pick up a book, learn, and it's not getting better, because you're already perfect the way you are. It's really just taking out some self-limiting beliefs and letting yourself know you are absolutely limitless. The world is yours. You are so powerful. So shout out to my family, shout out to my Good Life crew, the Gorilla Gang, the Diamond Hands, Hoddle, you know.
Perfect.
Other than that.
Okay, thank you so much for coming on, as we're going to run out of time, but I appreciate you coming on. I'm going to have you back because I want to have more to this discussion, but maybe in a couple months we'll have you back. I want to know how you're doing with your sales, and we'll keep in touch so soon. Thank you so much for coming on Connected with Carrie, and I will have you, I gotta have you back. This is so great. Okay, have a great night, everyone. Happy Saturday, and keep safe out there.
Thanks, Gary.
Say hi to your wife and kids too for me. Thanks. Have a good night.
Right.
Bye.
Bye.